This time we're going a little bit bigger. We're going up in size to 1:35 scale, and that's because this is a model of a Wirtgen cold milling machine for the Chinese market. This is the Wirtgen W215, and there's some technical information about the machine written on the box. And inside we have trays and can perform the ceremonial cutting of the tape. And after that the giant hand crane carefully lifts the model out. And there's no assembly to do because it is completorama out of the boxy doo-doo. First up, we can say straight away this is a really good model, and we'll start with the milling drum, which has got highlighted teeth. It's interesting to see that it's made up of a number of separate discs, and the high detail continues with the main discharge belt, which runs to the front. The metal tracks are excellent, and there are hydraulic hoses which run to each track set. Looking at the back, the engine cover has got a perforated grille, and there are very nice exhaust pipes which actually have something of a hole moulded. There are tiny graphics and the Wirtgen name at the back. There's a very nicely decorated external control console, and what looks like some kind of safety lever. The track frames are very nicely made, and there are more small graphics. The skirt for the milling drum has got some excellent detailing, and like almost everything, the parts are made of metal. Looking at the front tracks, you can see the hoses, and there's another small console. High quality decoration adds to a realistic look. Inside the cab we can see a very detailed operator's console, and it's worth having a very close look. It is impressive to see the very realistic console. For the Chinese market, the seats in the machine are simple benches, and there's a very nice textured floor. The roof canopy is metal and it's more than just a simple flat plate, and the front and rear windscreens have got decoration. Looking underneath at the discharge belt, and it's got a pattern. The structure is nicely formed and there's a perforated grille at the bottom. The detailing on the conveyor is really nice with lots of small graphics, and very nice wire support straps. There's also a rubber skirt onto the belt. At the top the structure's nicely formed again with more small graphics. Let's start with the fierce looking milling drum, and it rotates nicely and looks like it can do some real damage to your desktop. There's also a moving plate at the rear. The metal tracks can all be moved by a hand, and the tracks are also linked together in pairs so that they can steer together. The mechanism is a little bit stiff, but you can set a reasonable angle, and there's a lot of model engineering on this part of the model. With the model out of the workshop we can bring it onto site, and although it's 1:35 scale, it looks reasonable on a 1:32 truck model. To get it off the truck, we'll use the 1:1 scale giant hand crane. To facilitate the transport mode, the roof is lowered, and it raises up nicely, and there's also a hinged rear windscreen. Moving to the front, we can raise up the conveyor structure, which is articulated, and we can do that by pushing in on the hydraulic rams. And there's enough stiffness in them to hold a pose. Now we can fold out the rest of the discharge conveyor, and that raises high enough to be able to discharge into a tipper truck. To go to work, we can lower the side skirts to stop the stones flying everywhere, and if we need to, we can also raise the whole machine up. Each track set has its own hydraulic ram, and they can be individually extended to lift the machine up higher. Once again, there's a lot of model engineering involved here, and it's high quality. There's still plenty more functionality on the model, and that includes opening panel doors on the side of the engine compartment, and this gives us a look at the main drive to the milling drum. However, if we want to carry out a bigger service and get to the engine itself, And we can do that too because the whole engine cover tilts, and it also poses in a tilted position. Inside we can see that the plastic engine is made up of a number of different components. On each side of the machine, the gates at the top of the ladders can be opened. And there's also another very nice feature, which is the extending canopy. And that gives some protection to the operator sitting on the outer bench seats. Moving forward, and we come to the discharge conveyor again. And we may need to discharge on either side of the machine. And again, the model engineering in this regard is first rate, and there's a very wide range of movement. If you want, you can also turn the belt by hand. Models for machines from the Wirtgen group always set a high standard, and this model of a machine for the Chinese market by Sunraise Classic Models does not disappoint. It is a great mix of really nice detailing and very well engineered functionality. Overall, it's easy to rate this model as excellent.